Good morning. I guess it's afternoon, huh? In most places. Oh, I guess it's still morning here, 11:30. It feels like it's about 2 in the afternoon. So I'm going to sit in my car for a minute because I want to actually do a bit of an introduction. Hello, everyone. I am, today, I'm going to be specifically focused on talking to my moms, and, it is actually, I think the conversation will really translate to parents in general. And naturally everybody in general, but I specifically wanted to talk to my moms today about so many things. So it's kind of been on my heart a lot lately, getting back to school, getting back to the real deal of what it's like to be running a household and in charge of others that are not necessarily under your care at the moment, and all the opportunities that are coming up while still being, kind of, in that skeptical place of what's happening, what are we doing, what's going on, are we really getting back to life as we know it, or are things, how are things forever changed, and how does that impact us, and also how does that affect how we operate and function as a parent, as a family, as a caretaker, and how does that affect us individually as well. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to shut off the comments because I want to be pretty focused in my talk today. Maybe I'm just going to sit here in the car and do it and not do my walk, because I know already that I'm going to be distracted. So give me a second to shut these comments off. Okay. So, every once in a while, you have to recognize your shortcomings and what they may or may not be. But for me, I'm recognizing that if I head out into the park, I'm just not going to be as focused as I would be if I was here in the car. So over the past 2 weeks, school has started for us here in Los Angeles. I personally have gotten back together with my mom besties twice for breakfast, which has been phenomenal, because just that in-person connection just can't be compared. It just can't. And so that's been great. Been around lots of other parents, heading to open house night, heading to water polo games, heading, just out to the park and running into people. It seems that life is resuming. However, there's still some bumps in the road and sidetracks, and who knows what's going on. So for instance, we went to back to school night and everybody in masks. You could kind of see who some people were, but you haven't seen people in like 2 years. And so it's like, is it you? Is it not? Whatever. So there's that. And then, and so let me introduce myself. I'm not sure how to, what's going to be comfortable and out of the sun. So I'm just going to sit in the car. So my name is Beth, and I am known as Curvygirlbeth here on Instagram as my main platform. I do have Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, but Instagram is my main platform. I am a mom of a 14-year-old son. I have one child, and he is the sunshine of my life. He's 14, so we're at that point where that push and pull starts to happen, and I'm really excited for him in his first year of high school and all that that's going to bring him. I had a fabulous recollection of my high school years, and so I'm hoping that he has the same. He's joined a water polo team, and I think it's fantastic for his soul. His body, on the other hand, is feeling the effects, because after sitting in a chair for a year and a half, just doing Fortnite and your online studies really didn't allow for much physical emotion. So he's getting that now with a vengeance, with daily practices, and he is back to school in person, fully masked, and so there's that. Learning how to get back into studies that are probably a bit more stringent is not the right word. Serious, I guess. I can't think of the proper terminology. Is also going to take some getting used to, but I think he has taken it on right away, and seems to be really at task, so that's fantastic. But as a mom, all of a sudden he's not underfoot 24/7, which for me is great. But it adds a different element, right? And yes, that's what we were used to before, but now it's kind of a refiguring out, okay, how do we work together and what needs to happen? So for instance, where there were he has a school uniform and he's grown considerably. He's like a full-blown man. He's a full-blown man size. He's bigger than a lot of men, actually. And he, just trying to go figure out, where do I go buy pants for this young man? And how do I, how many do I buy? What's the size range I should buy? And, all of that, and which style is going to fit, and which is he going to like, and all of that. And so, these are the things that us moms do go through. Now, sure, I could have brought him with me and we could have battled it out in the dressing rooms, right? And we could have had the whining during the whole time, because now remember, he hasn't stepped foot inside of a store in 2 years. Yeah, that's not a high on his to-do list right now. So he is not one of those guys that can't wait to see what the latest style is or whatever. He's just like, yeah, I need clothes to wear, and that's that. Sure, he wants to look fine, but he knows that I'm perfectly capable of getting that orchestrated. So it's easier for him if I do it. So we often have that in my household, unfortunately for me, but can't say I'm not party to it. So in any case, and then the lunches, what are you getting for lunch? What are you bringing for lunch? What do I have to make for lunch? I'd like to know, can you guys leave me in the comments, all the parents, can you leave me in the comments if you're hearing this part, can you let me know, do you prepare the lunch the night before or in the morning? That's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know how other people do it. I am constantly doing it in the morning because even if it's a sandwich, I feel like it's old if it's done the night before. But people eat sandwiches that are done the night before all of the time. We buy food in the store that's prepared all of the time. If we go to Starbucks, it wasn't prepared that morning. So I'm not sure what my sticking point is on this. And I think maybe for my personal life and figuring out how do I navigate everything, it would be easier to have this one aspect prepared the night before. And so, just the little nuances. So a little about me. So, like I said, I'm Beth. And I, have a number of platforms that I work across on social media. And that is my focus, mom life and my social media responsibilities. And in doing so, I am focused on creating lipedema awareness and advocacy. Lipedema is a disease that affects 11% of women worldwide, probably a really low number, and only because almost nobody knows how to diagnose it, but we'll get to that another time. And so it basically is a connective tissue / fat disorder that generally is seen from the waist down, and in about 50% of the cases is also seen in the upper arm, and then it can also be anywhere throughout the body. However, those are the main areas that become affected generally during puberty, pregnancy, or menopause. And it's likely genetic. They're researching that now. A gene was found last year, and it is often characterized as painful, often characterized with bruising, but it is truly what it says. It is an inflammation of fat. So there's an additional layer of diseased fat that is generally nodular in some way. It can be as small as little tiny granules to, as big as, I don't even know, grapes and bigger for sure. Mine feels like little pearls underneath the skin. In between those little pearls, there's some interstitial fluid that is kind of gunky and junked up that kind of gets even more inflamed and then sort of impacts the lymphatics. And so there's a connection there as well. And so when you are in an inflamed state, it's like a breeding ground for it to progress. So there are many different stages. For people that are eating a regular standard American diet, or have a lack of movement in their life, things seem to it's kind of a breeding ground for progression. So it is not something that diet and exercise alone will get rid of, and there is currently no cure. Some women are choosing to have liposuction specifically for lipedema, and it really needs to be treated very specifically by a professional who handles that. However, There are many conservative treatments that work well to help manage the condition. No one is, at this point, without a cure. No one is getting rid of the condition. Even with surgery, it is managing the condition. So although if it's removed from a certain area, it doesn't mean that it's not going to take hold in another area or progress like fire in that area. And so it just kind of depends how it's managed. So there are a few key ways to manage it: with compression, with dry brushing, with certainly following an anti-inflammatory nutrition that works for you. Strength training is actually the best method of movement, because actually moving those muscles is what, and strengthening them, because lipedema women have less muscle than the average person. Moving the muscle actually moves the interstitial fluid and helps it to become less stagnant. So what, I'm sure I'm leaving out a million things. You know, you could use a rebounder, you can use a vibration plate, you can use you know, I mean, there's a million things that I could list off. That I'll do that another time. Again, it's been a minute. To help keep this at bay and keep it from progressing, but as compression pumps as well, and pool exercise, pool movement, just walking in the pool, just being in the pool, really, even that alone is helpful. The pressure it supports your lymphatics tremendously. So in any case, having a chronic illness or six, many lipedema women have more than one issue, because we're remarkable. We couldn't just have one thing. You know, also takes its toll in regard to, you know, how do I mom when I'm tired and I'm feeling ill and my body hurts, and where's my get up and go? And often with women with lipedema, the disfigurement that comes with that has left a psychological toll for years. And if it wasn't something that someone had from puberty, if it's something that came along, then it affects them mentally, because wait a minute, why can't I get back to where I was? If it was something that was developed in puberty, then it was always, why are my legs bigger than everyone else? Why am I shaped differently? Why, you know, why, if I just did, you know, just ran another lap, if I just did another, you know, jump or whatever it was, then you know, I wouldn't look like this. But that's not the case. The case is that this is how you were made, and that's not going to change. In the early stages, when you use these conservative treatments, there are ways to lessen the effects, for sure. And I think the wisest advice is to, when you're in the lower stages, if you're at what is considered, you know, a normal weight. And for me, believe it or not, this sounds crazy, but for me, someone who, because also lipedema weighs more. So you're always going to weigh more than the person next to you, even if you look smaller. And the key is maintaining your weight. So if you have any natural fat, it's certainly always best to get rid of that. But even at that, if you cannot get rid of that, then it's best to stay where you are and stop the nonsensical yo-yoing and trying everything, because that just takes a further toll and puts more stress on your system. So, because of that, I'm always fighting, always trying to find a new way, and I am on day 7 of 50 days till my next doctor's appointment, and I am in a specific keto for lipedema program, as well as a strength training for lipedema program. So trying to find the balance of working those in. I find just the tracking alone, it could be a job, and just finding that the time to fit all of that in with now the new responsibilities of getting back to school, getting to school on time, picking up from school, going to the game, going to, picking up from practice, whatever, attending the meetings. I attended one of the mom meetings, and another one is coming up next week. So these are things that are now, we're back in business, so we have to decide. It was interesting to me to see moms and to see what they were wearing, and to see how covered up everybody was. Because, we've all been behind closed doors for practically 2 years, and it's just a different situation. So one of the things that I wanted to, I'm getting some answers. The night before is when lunches get made. Love that. Thank you. Keep those comments coming. So one of the things that I was reminded of is that as moms, and now as we're in this weekend, for many places, this is the last weekend of summer. A lot of places here in the U.S., this is when the beaches close. This is when the lifeguards go off duty. This is when, it's the last hurrah. Obviously here in Los Angeles, we use the beaches year round, but it's not that way everywhere, right? And so, many people have gone on vacation before school starts for people, as, was intended in the world to start after Labor Day, but that's just my own personal belief. My kid has never fallen into that schedule, unfortunately. So I was reminded of moms out in the world, and moms being at family events, and moms being at memorable events. And what I thought was unique to myself was that in the old days, prior to let's just say 2017, prior to 2017, my Instagram does not start until 2019, so it's a little iffy what the dates are. But prior to 2017, in 2016, I personally went on an awakening journey, and I decided that I was not pleased with how my life was, that I was not living my life. I was living some other life. I was living some mom's life that was not me. And I decided that I needed to reclaim my life, and I needed to get back to being interested in activities that I enjoyed, like working out, like going for walks, like going to the beach, like going to amusement parks, like going to, I don't know, parties. Well, like for myself, like going dancing, gathering with friends, out at a venue. These are the things that I realized I had put way, way, way on the back burner. I went to the grocery store, I went shopping, I went to the movies to take my kid. Those are the kind of things that were in my world. And I realized that I needed to have a change. So I started reclaiming myself and my power. And along the way, I somehow found that I could begin to accept myself as I was. And I didn't always have to be chasing someone else, some ideal of what was portrayed to me as how I should be and how I should look and what I should do, and all of those things. And so throughout that journey, I managed to learn about my lipedema condition, and in so learning about that, I really, really had to come to grips with accepting my body as it was, because it's not going to change. It is not going to change. Sure, maybe there'll be nuances. Maybe I'll be 10 pounds more this week and 30 pounds more, next year, or 30 pounds less next year. I did become 30 pounds more a few years later. So from my diagnosis, I'm up 30, maybe even 40 pounds, depending on the day. I don't even know at this moment. But again, I have taken action to reclaim that. So in all of this, getting back to myself and this discovery, I had a turning moment. I had, first of all, I took my son on vacation, and we were in Solana Beach. We had lived there, and we had been back visiting with friends. That's down in San Diego. And a woman came at like 5 o'clock on a Friday. It was the end of our vacation. Like at 5 o'clock on Friday, she came, and she comes up to us and she says, can my son please borrow your boogie board? Sure, of course, absolutely. Oh, we just got here from Arizona. Okay. This woman, my son's never been to the beach before. He's turning 9. I think at the time, maybe my son was 10 or he was 8. Maybe he was 8. So they were close in age. And I thought, wow, this kid has never been to the beach. That's amazing. My kid now lives in Los Angeles, and he lives at the worst 20 miles from the beach. Really more like 10 to 15, but let's just go with the worst, 20 miles. And my kid's never been to the beach in LA, but we used to go to the beach practically, many times a week when we lived in Solana Beach, because it was 2 miles away. And I thought, oh, that's got to change. That I cannot live another summer with my son not going to the beach when he lives so close, when this woman has taken her son all the way from Arizona to come to the beach. So that was a big wake-up call. So we went to the beach a lot that summer. And when we went to the beach a lot that summer, we often met up with friends. One of the friends was teaching my son how to surf. And at that time, the daughter was sort of not so happy. The daughter needed a little attention. And I decided I would sit down in the sand and talk with the daughter. Well, I didn't sit in the sand in those days. I wore a dress to the beach in those days, or culottes, actually. This particular day I did have a dress on, though. And underneath the dress I had long board shorts because, God forbid, anybody would see anything to do with my legs. That was not going to happen on my watch for sure, because I was not going to offend people with how my legs looked. My bumpy, lumpy, wiggly, jiggly, well, they weren't very wiggly or jiggly then, but sagging, because I used to be much bigger. I used to be at least 150 pounds bigger than I am now. And, you know, that weight loss results in extra, you know, skin that's not as tight, as taut as it might be. So I was not going to offend anyone. And I sat down in the sand, and a huge wave came over and got us completely drenched as my son was getting out of the water. And he's like, "What happened?" And so I took off my dress and I said, "Come on, we're going to go in the water." Well, my poor son at 8 years old almost fell over, and he's like, "You're going in the water?" Because I was that mom who didn't go in the water. I was that mom who never stepped foot near the water, maybe to watch him, but not even to get my feet wet, because that wasn't my job as a mom. My mom was to bring my job was to bring my kid to the beach. My job wasn't to participate. And on that day, I went in the water, and my son was absolutely enamored. He couldn't even believe it. I was now the best mother in the world because I actually went in the ocean. And throughout that summer, I did more things. Because he had the surfboard, I thought, you know what? Why can't I learn to surf? So I started paddling around on the surfboard. And there was even a time where I was out on the surfboard, my son was on the surfboard, our friend was on the surfboard, and another boy came to sit with us. We were just all sitting on our surfboards. And I was in my board shorts and a tankini top in those days. Still not going to offend anybody, but I didn't have to just wear a dress and not go in the water. So that was a big progress. And this boy came, and he said he was there surfing with his dad, but his dad was in the lineup. And I said, "Oh, what about does your mom surf too?" And he goes, "My mom? No, my mom sits on the beach. She doesn't go anywhere near the water." And I thought, yes, my kid never has to say that again. My kid now has a mom who participates. And this poor kid, you could see the distress on his family, on his, you know, not on himself, because she wasn't participating in family events. And so we have to stop doing that, ladies. We have to start participating. And participating can be as small as, when a picture is taken, get in it. Stop sending those Christmas cards that are of your children. Nobody cares to see your children. Most of the people that you send them to either see them on a daily basis or they don't ever see them. So they really, whatever. Their relationship is with you. They want to see you. So get in the picture. And while you're getting in the picture, don't hide. I did this for 1,000,000 years. It is hilarious. That year, when I did that summer I did my first boogie boarding, and there's a picture of myself and my son with our boogie boards, and my boogie board is strategically placed in front of my hips and my thighs so that nobody would see them, because my God, imagine if somebody would know what my thighs and my hips look like. Well, certainly everybody who knows me knew. It wasn't, this idea of hiding is just ludicrous, really, because everybody else sees you and everybody else could give a damn. Not. Nobody cares what you look like because they love you for who you are. It's that simple, people. It's that simple. And if you would start giving yourself the same respect that other people give you, it would be a different story. And so I'd like to encourage you to start to consider that you actually may start showing yourself compassion, and you may start actually showing yourself the same attention and respect that you give to your friends, because that's what you need. You need your own. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of you. That's completely irrelevant, and it's not even something that you should know. The only thing that matters is how you view yourself, and that is what I want you to consider. And that is what I want you to consider starting to reconsider how you approach that. It's that simple. So one of the things that spurred my discussion today was a friend who is a lipedema woman, who's also a keto woman, who's also a mom, who has worked very hard in reducing her inflammation through keto. Not sure of the particulars. I want to say she's at least 2 years in by now. And she has transformed quite a bit. She's very diligent, and she is supporting herself the best way that she can. And for sure, at least 80% of the time, she is on point. And she gives herself grace when there's a divergence, when there's an emergency, when, something comes up that strays from the path. But she gets back to it, and she gives herself forgiveness. And that forgiveness doesn't come easily, because we're not taught that, right? We're taught to always be hard on ourselves. We're taught to be sure that we're 100%, and that's just unrealistic. And so we have to unlearn that as well. But she just took a family vacation, and she went to the beach in her yoga shorts and bikini top, and was amazed. And then when she got there, she took off her yoga shorts, and she had her high-waisted bikini bottoms, and she was free. She was thrilled that she took the leap. She was scared out of her mind, just as I was. So I went from board shorts to yoga shorts. And then in the year that I wore yoga shorts, I wore a tankini top. And then at some point I thought, why can't I wear a bikini top? And then I wore a bikini top. And then I went to a body positive photo shoot and had to be in a bikini. And from that point forward, nobody died, nobody fell off of the beach, nobody had a heart attack, nobody screamed rude, what's the right word? All of the words could go either way. Nobody screamed like, oh, you look horrific. Why are you wearing that? Nobody screamed any of those things. If anything, there were a lot of supporters, and maybe some of those may have been screaming, shouts of glee. But nobody was offended. Nobody. It was amazing, and I can assure you that any time since then that I have been at the beach in a bikini, nobody gives a damn. I can be doing a photo shoot at the beach and nobody even notices. So there's that. Or people come by and say, you look great, or this kind of thing, because people realize that they see your spirit, they see your soul, they see your light. Nobody cares about what your thighs look like, what your behind looks like, what your stomach looks like, what your jiggly arms. Nobody cares, and nobody even notices, except for the people that are scrutinizing themselves. The people that are scrutinizing themselves, those people notice, because they can't even fathom that somebody could have the wherewithal to respect themselves. And that is where it lies. So I told you about my son being so elated about me going in the water. So then from there, my son was even more elated. Certainly became elated when I could just go to the beach with the board shorts and didn't have to wear the big old dress. That was a big step. The next step was when I started wearing the yoga pants. Because let me tell you, ladies, when you wear these big, baggy, huge things, it doesn't really hide anything. It only adds more to what you're trying to cover. And so, yeah, I look way more streamlined in women's yoga pants than I do in men's board shorts, because that's what I had to wear. I had to wear big and tall men's board shorts so that they would be long enough and that they would be wide enough to get over my hips. And then they had to be cinched up like crazy, and so that made all kinds of extra material. And in truth, I don't even know. I'm sure I look 1.5 times the size. So there's that. And then, till this day, if I put on, I was going to the gym the other day, I was wearing a one-piece, a Speedo one-piece, like for swimming. Had a little bit of a print on it. It was teal with a black print. I actually had my yoga shorts over it, and we had to run out for an errand. And then I was going to pick up a friend at the airport and was going to head to the beach from there. And I said to my son, I said, can I wear this to the beach? And he goes, hell no. Do you see what you look like? And I was like, what? And he's like, you look ridiculous. You look like an 80-year-old woman. And I said, okay. He goes, and you realize you just went to the store looking like that, right? So the point is that your kids want you to look good too. Your kids want you to look young and hip. They want you to look like what they see in on their feed. They want you to look like you're not some wrung out, hung up old lady. They want you to show your light. They want you to participate in society. They want you to be vibrant. They want you to thrive. They want to see you thriving. In that same first summer, the other thing that I did that was completely off the charts and out of character was we were on a boat ride. We had rented a boat. We were on June Lake, a very calm lake. We put down the anchor and I had on camo pants to my ankles, and I think I actually had kind of a tank top on, which was a new thing at the time. And they were like, come in, come in. And I was like, I can't come in. I don't have any clothes. So my son was like, no, come on, you can borrow the shorts, and you can, whatever. So I borrowed some shorts. I put on my son's shirt. So he was 8. He was 8. I put on an 8-year-old shirt. It fit me as like a crop top, like it came to my waist. And I jumped off that boat. And do you know that when that child went to school on the first day of school, and they asked him, what did you do for the summer? He wrote a whole essay about how his mother jumped off the boat. And he wrote me a card to say how proud he was that I took the risk. And these are the things, these are the moments. This is what's important, to be a participant in your own life and your children's life. So I know that we're all busy. I know that we all have a lot to do. I know that our days get crazy, but we have to stop and take a minute and realize that without us, our children wouldn't exist. For the most part, I know it's an overgeneralization, but I think everybody might agree that for the majority, that's how it goes. I know there are a lot of different iterations and things like that, but the reality is we're still a little bit in that's still a majority. And so I'm asking you, not only for yourselves, but for your children, reconsider how you're doing things. Reconsider how you show up. Reconsider how you look. And let me say, if you need some help, let me know. Let me know. Believe it or not, I used to do image consulting, and I used to help people shop their wardrobes. And you know what? I might get back to that. So if you need help, let me know. I'm here. I've done it. I do it on a daily basis. I used to wear the big, huge shirts. I saw a woman the other day wearing the big, huge shirt, and my girlfriend was saying, she was like, oh, look at her. And I said, yeah, she looks completely absurd in that outfit that is so, so big, because you can't even see the lovely shape that she has under there. But what she's trying to hide, you can still see. So it doesn't work. So why not flatter yourself, flatter your figure, flatter your assets, and work with what you've got, because it's time to come out of hiding. So I know my friend who went on her vacation, I know that she has a daughter and a son, and her son was so thrilled that she wore that bikini, because he said, oh Mom, you look so nice. There you go. Our children, just like our children want to be accepted, and they want to be liked, and they want to be like everyone else, they also want us to be seen like everyone else. And so we're not tricking anybody sitting on the sidelines. We're not. Because everybody notices, including our children. And that's really not what we want to show. We want to show them acceptance and compassion and acknowledgement that everybody's different, and that's okay, and that you can still thrive and have a very fantastic life if you don't fit into the mold society has built for us. So with that, I'm going to take a second to see if there's any other questions. I don't think there's any applicable questions at the moment. So I want to say you can do it. I know because I did it. And it's way better on this side of acceptance. And it's way better. It's so much less stressful. And so much more freeing to be able to stand in your own power and really show yourself some compassion. And in doing that, it will work wonders within your family and within your relationship with your children. And it will be such an incredible example for them to see in their lives and going forward. So I wish you all a fantastic rest of your day on Sunday, or whenever you're watching this. I hope that you take some time to digest what I've said. Please feel free to reach out to me in DMs or emails. Emails are really great, actually. We can connect about if you need some thoughts on how do I start that, Beth? What do I do? Or those kinds of things. I think I'm going to be talking more about this going forward, but I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear your successes as well. So I know that I've heard from many women. Now my account is about 2 years old, and I have heard from many women about how, oh, Beth, I bought the bikini, oh, I bought the bathing suit, oh, and not the one that I was showing. If you notice, if you've been following me, you notice for the majority of my account, I'm generally showing you, it's not necessarily so. So, I have many a post in my own outfits that are not, you can't find somewhere, so you couldn't purchase them, right? I will be showing you more outfits that you can purchase, and that will be coming up like a vengeance. I just got a delivery actually yesterday. So that's exciting. But I can even help you work within your own closet to pick out yeses and nos that are right for you. And so let's see what we can come up with. Let's see how we can come out of this pandemic in a new, improved version of ourselves. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope that some of my thoughts and words have inspired you, provoked some thoughts, provoked some questions, and I hope that we can start to do this mom thing together, because we're back at it, baby. There's no getting around it. And we've got to find some new ways to get out there. I myself am like, oh great, what do I now have to wear to all of these mom gatherings? So yeah, it's an interesting thing. And it's the nuances. And so, again, we have to just continue, put our heads down, keep moving forward, offer ourselves grace and support each other. So let's do this. Thank you again. I appreciate you all, and thank you for my supporters, Lucio and DJ D Jizzy. Thank you so much for my badges. As most of you know, Instagram has created a new addition to their lives to support the creators that you're following, and they offer badges, which are a way to send a little bit of love for the content that you're viewing, and supporting your creators for making new content, just like you do on other platforms. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate you all, and I hope something that I said today spoke to you and really added some hope for today. So, see ya. And again, hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.